Hi, my name's Mike Shackleford with the Wizard of Odds website, and I'm here with Angela Wyman, my student, and dealer Dan Lubin to teach you about Blackjack Strategy. I've been trying to teach people how to gamble for 25 years, and for most of that time, I really pressed what's called the basic strategy really hard. In all the gift shops in Vegas, you can buy these cards that show how to play any given situation in blackjack according to your hand and the dealer's up card. However, if there's one thing that I've learned, 99% of blackjack players do not have the time or inclination to memorize that. It's asking too much. So if you're in that 99%, I'm going to teach you what's called the Wizard's Simple Blackjack Strategy. It's just a handful of rules, and it gets you to 99.8% of the expected return of the basic strategy. So it's going to get you almost all the way to perfect play with basic strategy, but with a much more simple strategy. The first rule, and the one that you see a lot, is really obvious. It's if you have a total of hard 8 or less, you hit. That's all there is to it. With a 9, what you do depends on the dealer's up card. If the dealer has a small up card, you're going to double. If he has a high up card, you're going to hit. Now let me explain what is a low and a high up card. And this is going to be true throughout my whole strategy. A low dealer up card is a 2 through a 6. A high dealer up card is a 7 through an ace. So you've got a total of 9. If the dealer's showing a 2 through a 6, you double. If the dealer's showing a 7 through an ace, you hit it. Next rule. With a 10 or an 11, the potentially doubling hands, you're going to double if you have more points than the dealer. For example, if I have a total of a hard 10, then I'm going to double if the dealer has a 2 through a 9 showing. If the dealer has a 10 or an ace showing, I'm just going to hit it. Likewise with an 11, I'm going to double if the dealer's showing a 2 through a 10, and if he has an ace up tying me, then I'm just going to hit. Next rule, and this one covers a lot of hands and they're frequently misplayed. These are the stiff hands. If you have a total of 12 to 16, then you're going to stand if the dealer is showing a small card and hit if the dealer is showing a big card. If you remember just one thing from this whole video, it should be that, because these situations happen all the time and they're frequently misplays. Next rule is pretty obvious. If you have a total of hard 17 or more, you stand. That one's obvious. So let's play a few hands and see how well Angela remembered all that. And we will get to the soft doubles and splits later. Okay, Angela, what should I do?
You should stand.
Because?
Because you have a 20 against a dealer's 10.
Right. If I have a 17 or more, a hard 17 or more, I stand, which I obviously do.
I have a hard 17, so I'm also going to stand.
Very good.
Oh.
Okay, Angela, what should I do?
A 9 against the dealer's 2. It's a small card. You should double.
Correct. And before all the perfectionists out there write to me, I want to remind you this is a simple strategy. There are some borderline cases like this one where it's not mathematically correct, but we're going to double this situation in the interest of simplicity.
And here's another case, 12 against a 2.
This is another case where the Wizard's simple strategy differs from the basic strategy. Don't stress about it. Don't send me an email about it. What does the wizard's simple strategy say to do in this situation?
To stand.
Because
12 on a 2. If it was, because the dealer's got a small card showing.
exactly, you have a 12 to 16, a stiff hand, and the dealer's showing a small card, so you stand.
Big one, please. Still have a... No, I make it.
Now, no strategy is going to win every single hand, but if you learn this strategy, you're going to be playing better blackjack than the vast majority of players out there. Now, here's a situation I didn't cover yet, the soft doubles. If you have a soft hand of 13 to 15, then you always hit. So here's a soft 13. Doesn't matter what you've got, I'm going to hit. Now here I've got soft 20. This is pretty obvious, but another rule is if you have a soft 19 or more, you always stand. So I've got soft 20, I'm good.
15 on the 2. Stand.
Correct.
18. Insurance?
Okay, here's another rule. Never take insurance. Period. No exceptions.
All right, insurance closed.
Okay, what should I do?
Your double down rule said if you have a 10, you have to outrank the dealer's up card. Then you double. If you don't, then you just hit, right?
Exactly.
Okay,
We count the
thank you.
ace as 11 points. You've got more than me, so I'm just going to hit.
18. 2 winners.
Okay, what are you going to do?
10 on 4. I will double.
Because you outrank the dealer.
Outrank.
1 card. 20. 5. 13. 15. Busted.
So what should you do?
I should hit.
Right. If you have a soft 13 to 15, you always hit. So you've got soft 14, doesn't make any difference what the dealer has. Now what do you do?
13.
Card 13. So
And it's not that the
Alright.
dealer outranked you, it's that you had a stiff hand and the dealer had a big card. So this is obvious, I've got hard 8 or less, I hit. If this were a 2-card 11, I would double, but I'm not allowed to double because it's more than 2 cards. So with a hard 9, 10, or 11, composed of 3 or more cards, you always just hit.
And you luck out.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got an 11, so I'm gonna double.
Because,
Alright.
what's the rule of thumb?
Double 11 on everything except
An ace.
an ace.
Yes.
Yay! No, no, no.
Yeah.
Wow, look at this. 2 hands where the player can split. There are 5 kinds of cards where sometimes you split and sometimes you don't. Those being 2s, 3s, 6s, 7s, and 9s. If you've got any one of those 5 hands, you will split it if the dealer's showing a low card, and you don't if the dealer's showing a high card. If you don't, then you revert to the rules I explained before about hitting and standing. So in this situation, I've got one of those 5 kinds of hands. The dealer's got a low card, so I split. Now, you've got aces. There's 2 kinds of cards that you always split, 8s and aces.
And you get 1 card only. There's a 21. That's not a blackjack. That's a 21. And that's a 21. Those are 2 21s. They're not blackjacks because the original hand was 2 aces and not a blackjack. But those are good hands, and you needed every bit of it, and you got it.
Now we've got two more split hands here. As I was saying before, there's 5 kinds of cards, which sometimes you split and sometimes you don't. 2s, 3s, 6s, 7s, and 9s. I've got the 9, then it depends on the dealer's up card. If the dealer was showing a low card, 2 through 6, I would split these. However, he's got a high card, a 7 through an ace, so I'm going to be more conservative. I'm not going to split, in which case I revert to the hitting and standing rules. So I would stand on any 18, so I'm good. Now, we haven't covered 5s yet, but there's 3 kinds of hands in the Wizard Simple Strategy that you never split. The 3 that start with F: 4s, 5s, and faces. So you've got 2 5s, you never split no matter what the dealer does, so then you revert to the hitting and standing strategy, so what do you do?
I double the 10 on the 8.
Exactly.
One more. Don't want to double for left.
Good thing you had blackout. Aha! You win. All right.
This hand gives me an opportunity to explain another rule about soft hands. I explained before that if the player has a soft 13 to a 15, you hit no matter what. What I didn't get to yet is if the player has a soft 16 to 18, then it depends on what the dealer's up card is. If the dealer has a low card showing, then you're going to double. If the dealer has a high card showing, then you're going to hit. So I have a soft 13 to 15, so I'm just going to hit no matter what the dealer has. 15 against the 7, I hit. I'm good, 21.
Soft 17
Mhm.
against dealer high card, I'm going to hit.
Exactly.
Now I have a 16 against 17.
Thanks, Mike. But that's the right play. A soft 17 is always at least a free hit, but you have a 16 against a 7.
Hit.
Mhm.
Don't worry, you get comps.
Oh.
Okay, this reminds me of the last hand, except this time Dan has a low card showing. So as I was explained last time, I've got a soft 13 to a 15, so I hit no matter what the dealer has. Now I've got 15, dealer has a low card, so I stand. So what do you do, Angela?
Well, I've got a soft 17 against dealer low card. Since it's a 15 to a 17, I double.
It's 16 to an 18. If you have a soft 16 to an 18 and the dealer has a low card, then you double.
So close.
Yep.
Yay! This gives me an opportunity to explain the last rule of the Wizard Simple Strategy. The only time you surrender is 16 against a 10. That's it. It's that simple. Surrender. So what should you do, Angela?
Well, I've got a pair of 3s against a dealer's high card, so I don't want to split those. I would if it was a low card. Instead, I'm going to revert to hit or stand.
So what kind of hands does what you just said apply to?
2s, 3s, 6s,
Sevens
7s, and 9s.
Right, so you just got to remember that 2, 3, 6, 7, and 9.
All right.
So you fall under that range, but the dealer has a high card, so then what do you do?
Revert to hit or stand.
Exactly.
It's less than 8, 3 hours, I'm going to hit. 16 on a 10. Oh,
Yes, this is the closest play there is in blackjack. It happens all the time. As I just explained, if this was a 2-card 16 against the 10, you would surrender, but you can only surrender on your initial hand. It's not an option in this case. So the fundamental rule of my strategy with a stiff hand is, right, you hit against the dealer high card.
And go down and swing, and sometimes you had no choice. I had a
Would've
bad
lost
hand.
anyway.
And I know that you probably didn't remember everything in this video, but everything I just said is right on my Blackjack page at wizardofodds.com. Wizardofodds.com, go to Blackjack, and the Wizard Simple Strategy is right there. If you learn this strategy, like I said earlier, you'll get to 99.8% of the power of the basic strategy, but it's much more easy to learn. Any questions? Well, thank you very much for being my student, Angela,
Thank
and for
you.
you, Dan, to the dealer.
Thank you.
And good luck to all of you.